Tonight's top stories. The palace vehemently denies the allegations made by the alleged former ex-Marines against the president. The Sentro Bayan grants the request of former Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan to be placed under hospital arrest instead due to his medical condition. The country's inflation rate slowed down in May. Tennis sensation Alex Ayala carves out another historic win. All these and more on PTV News Tonight.
Good evening. Welcome to PTV News Tonight. What tangled webs are weaved when people try to deceive, says Sir Walter Scott. And so it applies to the vague and spotty claims of money-laden suitcases delivered by one marine witness to the president's digs in Paway, Ilocos Norte, where he could not even recall if it was light or dark at the time. Then again, the public can see which is truth or tall tale in this desperate and vain attempt to drag the president's name and all others in yesterday's bogus Blue Ribbon hearing, as our Clazel Paradilla reports.
Pakita muna nila ebidensya.
That was Malacanang's challenge to the alleged former Marines and alleged associates of fugitive former Representative Zaldico, who dragged the names of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and the First Family into the alleged flood control scam. During the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing conducted by the Cayetano Bloc, which the new majority has described as a bogus hearing, the alleged former Marines claim to have allegedly delivered suitcases of cash to Ilocos.
Si Bong Sandro, din nanik po si President, din si First Lady po yung...
That was the same visit nung nagtid kayo ng
Yes
maleta?
po, yes, Your Honor.
Malacanang strongly denied the allegation.
Dali kasi magturo. Lalo na kung ang balak mo lang naman talaga ay manggiba at magsilbing isang obstructionist or destabilizer. So dapat patunayan nila, bigyan nila tayo ng dokumento at hindi yung salita lamang.
Following the hearing, a fresh allegation was leveled against the chief executive.
Etong 11 nagmi-meeting to with Malacanang.
Malacanang fired back.
Dapat maging responsable lahat tayo sa pagbibigay ng impormasyon sa ating mga kababayan. Kasi mas lalo itong nagpapagulo, lalo itong nagpapaingay, at alam naman natin ang mga political tensions nakakaapekto hindi lamang sa isang tao, sa dalawang tao, kundi buong bansa, pati ekonomiya apektado. Dahil hindi nagiging maganda ang reputasyon ng Pilipinas sa ibang bansa o sa buong mundo dahil sa nakikitang ingay na ito.
Malacanang admitted that the administration legislative agenda could be affected by the ongoing tensions in the Senate. Among the flashpoints were the gun incident, heated confrontations, physical scuffles, and continuing political feuds.
Maaari maapektuhan pero ang Pangulo po ay tutok pa rin sa kanyang mga adhikain, sa kanyang mga nais na i-push na mga bills para sa taong bayan. Ito ay magiging suliran nila na lamang, no? Magiging problema na lamang ito ng Senado. So dapat talaga ay umaksyon ang kung sino ang dapat na authority umaksyon sa Senado.
One possible consequence of the political noise, according to Malacanang, is the Philippines' failure to secure a seat in the UN Security Council.
Yes, lahat ng political noise, lahat ng political tensions, nakakaapekto ito. At ito ang nakikita ng buong bayan at buong mundo sa impression dito sa Pilipinas. So, nagiging negatibo dahil sa mga ingay na ito, na karamihan naman ay mga obstructionist katulad ng pag-describe ng Pangulo sa huling kapihan with the media.
From the National TV Network, Clazel Paradilla for a new and better Philippines.
Senator Rodante Marcoleta could always hire a producer to broadcast his comments on certain issues live on social media, or perhaps do his own podcast to stress and highlight his takes and editorials the way he pleases. But what he could never do is ask mainstream media how to cover him or the news to suit his narrative. As we hear more on media's strong pushback on his paid hacks claim from our Bernard Ferrer.
The National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, or NUJP, has condemned the remarks made by Senator Rodante Marcoleta against members of the media during a Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing. Marcoleta described some journalists as paid hacks and questioned why no one had allegedly criticized the cancellation of a hearing on the alleged corruption in flood control projects. According to NUJP, such statements are an attempt to undermine public trust in the media amid escalating political conflict in the Senate. The group maintained that journalists have a duty to seek the truth, hold those in power accountable, and provide the public with accurate and meaningful information. The NUJP also emphasized that portraying the media as biased serves only to divert public attention from important issues that require clarification, including allegation of corruption. Meanwhile, the Presidential Task Force on Media Security, or PTV, also expressed concern over Marcoleta's remarks against journalists covering the Senate. According to the agency, the allegations lack sufficient basis and could pose risk to the safety and security of journalists who play a vital role in a democratic society. The agency called on government officials to respect the media's role as a guardian of truth and accountability. Marcoleta later apologized for his statements following criticism from Senate-based journalists and various media organizations.
So pasensya na po kung ako'y nakapagsalita ng ganun. I did not mean it. Ito po ay dahil sa frustration ko sa nangyari at sa nangyayari pong nakikita ko.
A group of law deans, professors of juridical science and political theorists said the Senate should not be paralyzed simply because some senators refuse or are unable to attend session. They argue that based on the Supreme Court's decision in Avellino versus Cuenco and established Senate practice, a quorum may be determined by the senators who are actually available to perform their duties. They said the Constitution's intent is to ensure the continuous functioning of the legislature and not to allow it to be held hostage by those who cannot participate in hearings or sessions. The group also urged lawmakers to stop actions that hinder the Senate's work and to continue carrying out its key responsibilities, including the impeachment trial of the Vice President. Bernard Ferrer from the National TV Network for New and Better Philippines.
In his talk to the law student graduates of Western Visayas State University, the president adjured them to put truth and facts as their North Star to enlighten them in making difficult choices in their careers. Our Kenneth Paciente has more on the president's pep talk and these batch of graduates, most of whom studied under his wife and First Lady, Liza Aranete Marcos.
Always choose truth over falsehood. This was the message of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. to the law graduates of the West Visayas State University College of Law in Iloilo City. The president said the work that future lawyers will face will not be easy. That is why he stressed that integrity must serve as their foundation.
This is a reminder that your chosen profession carries a responsibility to ensure that the poor, the vulnerable, the marginalized, the disenfranchised are not left without protection simply because they lack wealth or influence or power. At a time when public trust in institutions is tested, responsibility becomes even more important. Your success will not be measured solely by the cases that you win or the positions that you will hold. It will be measured by the confidence that people place in you, by the fairness with which you exercise your profession, and by the integrity you demonstrate even when no one is watching.
The chief executive also urged the law graduates to remain honest and steadfast in the principles that led them to the legal profession.
Do not be swayed by fleeting opinions or the lure of convenience. So long as you remain anchored in integrity, fairness, and truth, you shall never lose your way. May you always choose principle over convenience, truth over falsehood, and service over self-interest. May you use your expertise to help build a nation worthy of the aspirations of our people.
He also recognized the sacrifices of the graduates as well as their families who supported their education. This year's batch is composed of 25 graduates, 17 of whom were students of First Lady Liza Marcos since 2022. Kenneth Pasyente from the National TV Network for a new and better Philippines.
Erstwhile Public Works Secretary could not handle the stress of being indicted and arrested last week. His underlying physical condition of hypertension and diabetes simply exacerbated. Hence, his is in really bad physical shape and needs extended medical treatment and care in a private facility until such time his status improves, as our Rod Lagusad reports.
The Sandigan Bayan 5th Division has granted the request for hospital arrest of former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan, who is facing grab and plunder charges in connection with the flood control projects issue. Based on the court's resolution, it partially granted the urgent ex abundante ad cautelem motion filed by Bonoan to be placed under hospital arrest while the case remains pending. The court allowed Bonoan to be confined at the PNP General Hospital in Camp Crame. In Bonoan's motion, his May 29 medical certificate stated that he suffers from chronic renal disease stage 4, hypertension, diabetes mellitus, prostate cancer, and other illnesses. Based on his June 1 medical certificate, Bonoan also suffers from hypertensive atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, severe coronary disease, and other conditions. Bonoan's camp explained that the former secretary requires continuous monitoring and immediate access to specialized care, stating that the private hospital where Bonoan is currently staying has the specialized equipment and advanced facilities needed for his condition. The prosecution opposed the request and argued that Bonoan was able to endure a 14 to 16-hour trip to the United States and back to the Philippines, attend the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing, and serve as DPWH secretary. Therefore, he should be able to endure detention. According to the prosecution, the claim of Bonoan's camp that nearby government medical facilities lack specialized equipment is merely speculative. According to the Sandigan Bayan 5th Division, the attending physician at the PNP General Hospital has 5 days to submit an independent medical evaluation report to the court to verify the clinical findings presented by Bonoan's camp regarding his condition. While awaiting the independent examination, Bonoan will remain under hospital arrest in the custody of the PNP CIDG. Should Bonoan require continued confinement, bi-weekly medical progress reports must be submitted to the court as well as to the prosecution. Once Bonoan is discharged, subject to the doctor's recommendation, the PNP CIDG will transfer him to the New Quezon City Jail in Payatas. If Bonoan needs to be confined in another hospital, the court must be notified within 48 hours with all medical expenses to be shouldered by the accused. According to DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla, they will comply with the Sandigan Bayan's order to place Bonoan under temporary hospital arrest. Remulla further said this is only a temporary measure imposed by the Sandigan Bayan. He added that they will receive Bonoan's medical diagnosis on Monday, which they will submit to the Sandigan Bayan. He said Bonoan underwent 2 medical procedures this week after suffering a heart attack. In this regard, the PNP General Hospital is ready should Bonoan's care be returned to them. According to PNP General Hospital Chief Police Colonel Cleto Manongas, they are just waiting for the results of Bonoan's 2D echo and angiogram. To ensure closer monitoring of the accused condition, the PNP General Hospital will coordinate with the doctors handling Bonoan at the private medical facility.
Yung heart po, sa heart pa rin po naman ang problema ang niro-roll out natin kasi mayroong mga laboratory examination na mataas. So we have to do further studies kung ano ba talaga yung pinanggalingan ng pagtaas ng mga laboratory examination.
Manonga said it is still too early to determine whether Bonoan is fit to stand the trial, but stress has a significant effect and can trigger various types of illnesses. For now, the former secretary's condition remains stable. Senator Jinggoy Estrada is a co-accused of Bonoan in one of the count of graft before the Sandigan Bayan 2nd Division. He is also Bonoan's co-accused in the graft case and the non-bailable plunder case in the 5th Division. In the upper-mentioned case, officials of the DPWH and CR are also among the co-accused and have all entered not guilty pleas to both charges. Rod Lagusad from the National TV Network for a new and better Philippines.
In the meantime, the Malolos Regional Trial Court Branch 20 has issued a warrant of arrest against Curly Discaya and others for the charge of malversation. The case carries no bail and is linked to a complaint filed by the Office of the Ombudsman after alleged Payments made without an approved disbursement voucher involving a 53.9 million peso flood control project in Kalumpit, Bulacan. Diskaya is currently under Senate custody, while several of his co-accused are already detained, including his wife Sara Diskaya, Bryce Hernandez, and JP Mendoza. Also included as co-accused are Merge Haron Laos, Ernesto Galang, Norberto Santos, Lorenzo Pagtalunan, Juanito Mendoza, Floreline Simbulan, and Roma Angeline Rimando. The House prosecution panel will just await next month when the impeachment trial of the Vice President in the Senate kicks off instead of trying to respond to the Vice President's non-direct reply to the allegations leveled against her. Instead, a manifestation reiterating a summary of the prosecution stand will suffice and be submitted, as our Sheila Natividad reports.
The House prosecution panel will submit a manifestation instead of filing a formal reply to Vice President Sara Duterte's answer to the articles of impeachment. This was announced by Batangas 2nd District Representative and lead House Prosecutor Jervy Luistro following discussions on the panel's position on the Vice President's response. According to Luistro, nothing in VP Duterte's response directly addressed or disputed the key allegations stated in the articles of impeachment.
To file a reply because we believe na they did not dispute any allegation of facts doon sa articles of impeachment. Nevertheless, we will be filing a manifestation, hopefully today or tomorrow, upang ipaliwanag ang aming posisyon why we opted not to file a reply.
Luistro explained that the manifestation will contain the prosecution panel's formal position on the matter rather than a direct response to the Vice President's answer. Meanwhile, amid the changes in the Senate leadership, Luistro clarified that the prosecution panel recognizes the Senate as the impeachment court in accordance with the Constitution. Because of this, she said the panel will follow the newly recognized leadership as well as any operational changes by the Senate as a co-equal branch of the government.
So following this line, with all due respect sa dating leadership, but we will be following the instruction, order, which will be coming from the new leadership. Again, the reason is we are just following the direction of the institution. And since the House of Representatives already recognized the new leadership, then it means that the 11 prosecutors should be following also the leadership that was recognized by the institution.
Luistro added that the panel expects to submit its manifestation by Monday. However, she reiterated that the document will maintain the same position and with no need to file a reply to the Vice President's response to the articles of impeachment. Lanao del Sur 1st District Representative and House Trial Spokesperson Zia Alonto Adyong also maintained that the prosecution panel remains confident in the evidence it prepared for the Vice President's impeachment trial in July, despite the recent leadership changes in the Senate. According to Adyong, the panel remains confident it will be able to present to the Filipino people the facts they deserve to know on the impeachment proceedings. Sheila Natividad from the National TV Network for a New and Better Philippines.
A rather sluggish rise in the transportation costs and slight slide in the price of food and non-alcoholic beverages helped bring headline inflation from 7.2% in April to 6.8% last month, with overall inflation for the last 5 months settling at 4.5%. Our Elijah Canlas fills us in with more details.
Ang headline inflation rate o ang pagtaas ng presyo ng mga produkto at serbisyo sa bansa ay bumagal sa antas na 6.8% nitong Mayo 2026.
The inflation rate in the country slowed down this past month of May. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA, the 6.8% overall inflation last month is lower than the 7.2% recorded in April. The country's average inflation rate from January to May of this year stands at 4.5%. The main driver of the downgraded trend is the slower price increase in the transport index, which dropped to 16.2% from 21.4% in April. A slight drop in the prices of food and non-alcoholic beverages to 5.7% also helps slow down inflation.
Now moving forward sa June, of course may mga risks tayo. Medyo volatility sa ating presyo ng fuels external, although bumaba siya itong first week, no? But we will continue to monitor.
The Department of Economy, Planning and Development, or DepDev, stated that the government projects greatly assisted families. Chief Economist Sentro Balita warned the price pressures remain dangerous, so the state must not be complacent. Meanwhile, prices for some basic food items remain high, with rice at 15.6% and corn at 25.5%. To address this, the government is sustaining concrete projects for the sectors directly affected by the price increases. Currently, the state has launched fuel assistance for PUB drivers and provided irrigation systems and crop programs for farmers. The El Nino Task Force is also being reconstituted to conduct cloud seeding operations to ensure food production and lower prices. Elijah Canlas from the National TV Network for a new and better Philippines.
The government's measures under the Unified Package for Livelihoods, Industry, Food and Transport, or UPLIFT program, are beginning to show results, with the inflation rate dropping to 6.8% in May from 7.2% in April. Meanwhile, the palace emphasized that the government is not being complacent, citing persistent threats such as fluctuating oil prices and the effects of El Nino. The palace added that the government remains committed to sustained implementation of measures to ensure affordable goods and create opportunities to make a living for every Filipino. The Philippine Army and Australian Army have further strengthened their interoperability and coordination in various military operations under the ongoing Kasangga 2026 exercise in Camarines Sur. The training includes demolition range exercises focused on the safe handling, placement, and detonation of explosive charges. Armor operations training and advanced marksmanship exercises were also conducted by Filipino and Australian troops at the Magsuto firing range in Barangay Carolina, Naga City. Other drills under Kasangga include jungle operations, map reading and theory sessions, command and control communication exercises, mortar gunnery and weapons training, as well as tactical combat casualty care. The Department of Education is preparing new systems and approaches for the upcoming school opening on June 8th, including a reorganized three-term school calendar. DepEd says the new structure, composed of opening, instructional, and end-of-term blocks, is expected to improve learning for both students and teachers. The agency also reaffirmed its preparations under Brigada Escuela to ensure students' safety and health, while continuing efforts to address classroom shortages. Officials stressed the importance of repairing existing classrooms to quickly expand learning spaces and support the education system. The Philippine National Police urged the public to use the Unified 911 emergency hotline responsibly as the system is expanded to more regions. Authorities warned that prank calls can delay or prevent assistance for people with real emergencies. Under the system, repeated abuse such as 3 prank calls may result in a caller being blocked from accessing 911. The PNP said the hotline is a lifeline and emphasized the need to keep it available for genuine emergency cases. The Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT, has expanded access to digital education at Agsanayan National High School in Guimaras. This by distributing 654 Bayanihan SIM cards to students and teachers. 4 months after the rollout, the program has yielded positive effects on learning and teaching, driven by improved internet connectivity. This has resulted in easier access to online learning resources, communication, and other digital services vital for education. And the initiative is part of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s directive to expand internet access in public schools nationwide.
Ipinapakita nito na kapag may koneksyon, mas napapalapit ang edukasyon sa mga komunidad at mas nabibigyan ng pagkakataon ng bawat mag-aaral na maabot ang kanilang mga pangarap.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. conducted a silent inspection along the Maharlika Highway in Pinabacdao, Samar today. The president assured high quality for the project, highlighting its importance to improve interconnectivity, accelerate the movement of people and products, and strengthen economic opportunities in the region. Upon completion of the rehabilitation expected in August, travel time between Tacloban City and Catbalogan City is expected to significantly shorten from 3 hours to 45 minutes only. This initiative is also anticipated to lower transportation costs, improve logistics for farmers and businessmen, and provide easier access to essential services like education and healthcare. The National Electrification Administration, or NEA, is closely monitoring the electricity supply in provinces and remote areas in preparation for the opening of public schools next week. The agency is in coordination with the Department of Education to ensure no disruptions to the operations of electric cooperatives. This step is important to maintain uninterrupted power service, especially for schools that are considered critical service areas. NEA Administrator Antonio Almeida stressed the readiness of the response teams to address any sudden interruptions to power lines. Almeida also mentioned NEA's new digital dashboard command center, which allows them to remotely monitor the operations of electric cooperatives. As school opening approaches, overcrowded public transportation is once again expected to be commonplace, with students packed into jeeps, buses, and tricycles. At the same time, authorities are stepping up security and monitoring to ensure the safety of students returning to school. James Thompson reports.
With the upcoming opening of classes, there are once again numerous jeeps, buses, and tricycles cramming passengers in, especially students. For tricycles that should only accommodate 3 to 4 passengers, they sometimes end up carrying 5 to 7. For jeeps, those that should only have 22 passengers end up carrying 25. And especially for buses, as long as there is still space, they forcefully pack people in until they are squeezed like sardines, just so they can leave immediately and get on the road. For Rhea Santiago, who has 3 nieces returning to school, one of her major concerns is their safety whenever they commute.
Siyempre may worry sa akin kasi nagko-commute sila. But at the same time, I always remind them naman to take care of themselves, especially kapag sa mga sasakyan, kasi very talamak ngayon yung mga nangyayaring hindi maganda inside kapag pumapasok ka or bumabiyahe ka papuntang school or
However, the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, will not allow this to pass this upcoming school opening. This is because it is one of the leading causes of road accidents. That is why the LTFRB will further intensify their monitoring operations.
Pag simula po ng Lunes, bamantayan namin yung mga school transport operators. Huwag po nila gawing sardinas yung mga bata. So hindi lang namin babantayan yan on the first day, second day, pati middle of the semester. Ayaw sana namin makita na nagagawang sardinas yung mga bata.
In that case, siguro mas mapapanatag yung loob ko kasi hindi na malalas yung worry ko sa mga pamangkin ko knowing na malalas na din yung mga sasakay ng mga transportation doon sa panukala ng LTFRB.
The agency understands the driver's situation since extra passengers mean additional fare income. But this is not an excuse to compromise the lives of the children. Because of this, the agency is preparing assistance for school transport operators by providing them with subsidies.
We will call a meeting with the major school transport operators sa mga major universities, kasama na dyan yung PUP, gano'n, no? Para maintindihan din naman namin yung problema ng school transport. And if necessary, we will make the necessary recommendation para isama din sila dun sa 10 pesos per liter na discount na binibigay sa jeepney at saka vans.
Meanwhile, the police force will also ensure the security of the expected over 2 million students returning to school this coming June 8. More than 4,000 police officers will be deployed to various schools in Metro Manila. Among the main concerns, the police will closely monitor are theft, accidents, and bullying, which are prevalent in schools. Rhea, on the other hand, feels confident that her nieces are safe at school due to the continuous guidance given to students by teachers and authorities.
Gladly na lang din yung mga teachers nila whenever na may mga instances na even hindi naman siya ganun malalang bullying. They always inform yung parents ng mga pamangkin ko.
Police officers are expected to be stationed across 200 assistance desks, transport terminals, pedestrian crossings, loading and unloading areas, and crowded places frequented by students. Hence, they have further strengthened their mobile patrols and coordination with schools for a safer return to classes.
Sila po ay nakatutok hindi lamang po sa start or sa simula po ng pasukan, maging all throughout the school year po ay sila po yung nakaantapay dito sa ating mga school, sila po yung i-deploy natin para siguraduhin po na year-round or yung buong school year po ay meron pong tututok sa ating mga paaralan.
J.M. Thompson from the National TV Network for a New and Better Philippines.
Coming up, Alex Ayala fans have something to cheer about again. That's next after some reminders. Stay with us.
Stay up to date on His Excellency President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s actions and initiatives this week as he leads the country in nation building. PBBM at work. For our next food crawl.
Sa Reels ko lang narinig yung Carolina Reaper.
Tara na sa another Chibugan. Kasama ang certified foodie na si Joshua Garcia.
Nasasarapan ako. Nanay yung balahibo ko. Oo.
It's fun. Ngayong linggo, alas 10:30 ng umaga.
Kaliwa, kanan. Kasarap.
Dito lang sa PTV. Panibagong parangal para sa ating mga programa. Mula sa Ending Indie Excellence Awards. Code Red, Excellence Award for Public Safety and Action Broadcasting. Schoolmates, Excellence Award for Youth-Oriented Public Affairs Broadcasting. Pag-usapan natin with Oscar Orbos, Excellence Award for Public Affairs Broadcasting. At Rise and Shine Pilipinas, Excellence Award for Morning News and Lifestyle Broadcasting. Karangalan naming maghandog ng mga programang kapupulutan ng impormasyon at inspirasyon para sa bayan. Talagang the more the merrier pagdating sa chikahan at balitaan. Kasama ang ating new RSP tropa na mas magpapasaya ng Tuesday mornings. Attorney Joe, Attorney Jose Bellarmino II. Dito lang sa Rise and Shine Pilipinas. Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 6 ng umaga. Sa PTV.
Tara na sa masayang mundo ng paglikha.
Kung gusto niyo namang balikan ang mga obrang ginawa natin this week,
iba-ibang DIY projects, fun trivias at artworks. Para sa lahat ng kids at mga kids at heart.
Samahan si Kuya Joseph, Elia at Cholo sa kanilang exciting art adventures at bigyang kulay ang buhay.
Artsy Craftsy!
Artsy Craftsy. Tuwing Sabado, alas 10:30 ng umaga. Dito lang sa PTV. Alam niyo ba kung bakit espesyal tayong mga Pilipino? Dahil may mga katangian tayong kakaiba at tunay na kahanga-hanga. Gaya na lang ni Miguel, na likas na matulungin.
Guys, help natin si Manong oh.
O kaya ni Adrian, na may respeto at paggalang.
Lola, paano po?
Nariyan din si Aya, na malalim ang pananampalataya.
Panginoon, salamat po sa mga biyaya.
Si Aling Sita, na kahit walang-wala, magiliw pa rin tumatanggap ng bisita.
Come in! Tuloy po kayo.
At kapag sinusubok kagaya ni Paulo, nananatiling matatag, masiyahid at positibo.
Wag ka lang, Pilipino ako.
Yan tayong Pilipino. Likas ang kabutihan, katatagan, at pusong makatao.
Is it a yes or a no? Are you anti or pro? Pagdating sa mga isyung panlipunan, stay woke or go broke?
Basta relevant, napapanahon at makabuluhan para sa kabataan.
Pag-usapan natin yan sa
Schoolmates, the country's longest-running youth forum and debate show on TV.
Join ka na sa masayang usapan every Thursday dito lang sa PTV.
PTV Consumer Watch. Bantay presyo sa gasolina. Mula sa simula ng kanilang karera hanggang sa finish line ng bawat torneo. Pakinggan ang athletic journey at iba pang mahalagang updates mula mismo sa ating mga atleta. Sports Banter. Dito lang sa PTV Sports.
Senator Erwin Tulfo, the newly elected chairperson of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, announced that the panel will resume its flood control probe on Monday. The senator confirmed the committee will invite witnesses who appeared at the forum led by Senator Alan Peter Cayetano on Thursday, including the so-called 18 ex-Marines. The senator said the official hearing was moved to Monday to ensure order and allow all senators, including Cayetano and his allies, to participate. He rejected the idea that Thursday's event was an official Blue Ribbon inquiry, saying it was a press conference and a forum with no official sanction or staff. Thus, Thursday's proceedings will not form part of the Senate record. Vote wisely. This is the call of the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity, or APAPRU, Secretary Mel Senen Sarmiento, to voters for the upcoming Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARM, parliamentary elections, which is scheduled for September 14. He also asserted that a careful choice of leaders will lay the foundation for a stable BARM government. The secretary described the polls as a defining moment and a new and exciting chapter in the region's history, stressing the electoral exercise as a vital component of nation building. The peace advisor urged everyone in the region to cooperate closely with the security cluster and called on the academic community and civil society groups to strongly advocate for voter education. House Speaker Faustino Boji III has called for a proactive government response to the threat of El Nino to protect Filipino farmers and fisherfolk and ensure food security. He emphasized that government action should come before the impacts of El Nino are fully felt, rather than wait after the damage is done. DA also stressed the need to safeguard rural livelihoods and strengthen communities to help them withstand climate-related challenges. Meanwhile, the House Agriculture Panel has conducted a briefing on Task Force El Nino programs aimed at mitigating its potential effects across various sectors. The Department of Health is warning the public against wild or common rainy season illnesses as classes are set to open next week. These include water and foodborne diseases, influenza-like illnesses, leptospirosis, and dengue, which remains the most common among them. Although dengue cases from January to May have decreased by 56% compared to last year, the DOH said high cases are still being monitored in Central Luzon, Calabarzon, and the National Capital Region. The DOH urged the public to seek early medical consultation and maintain good health practices such as proper nutrition, exercise, and hygiene to prevent the spread of disease. So far, so good. Neither serious nor superficial threats to law and order, peace and security have been on the PNP's radar thus far for the Independence Day celebration next Friday. This was the Philippine National Police's pronouncement on word running up and down the grapevine of certain groups cooking up not-so-peaceful protests to commemorate the birth of the nation next Friday. It said there's no truth, as per police intel gathered thus far, of serious destabilization plans by troublemaking groups to mar next Friday's solemn celebration. Still, the PNP is not taking any chances and has contingencies in place should things go south. In this morning's meet with DILG head honcho John Vic Remulla, among the items in the agenda taken up was security preparations for the President's State of the Nation speech late next month. Still, the immediate and urgent focus is next week's huge event and a potential attack by members of a religious sect on the palace.
The Secretary of the Interior and local government did meet with the top PNP leadership as well as select regional directors and directorial staff as part of his regular oversight functions and mandate over the Philippine National Police. Ito po ay there's nothing unusual or there's nothing urgent about the meeting.
And we'll have more news and stories coming our way after these reminders. Stay with us.
Disaster Watch, mga hakbang kontrasunog. Regular na inspeksyonin ang mga linya ng kuryente, appliances, LPG at kalan. Mag-ingat sa paggamit ng gasera, kandila, vape at posporo. Itapon na maayos ang upos ng sigarilyo. I-unplug ang mga appliance at gadget na hindi ginagamit. I-switch off ang circuit breaker sa bahay kung magbabakasyon. Maghanda ng first aid kit at escape plan at ipaalam ito sa kasama sa bahay o opisina. Alamin ang cover, drop, roll strategy kapag may emergency. At ilista ang numero ng pinakamalapit na istasyon ng bumbero sa inyong lugar. Huwag hayaang maabo ang pangarap. Dapat laging listo. Consumer Watch. Mga praktikal na paraan sa pagtitipid at wastong paggamit ng tubig. Hugasan agad ang mga plato para mas madaling linisin ang mga ito. Bawasan ang pagdidilig ng mga halaman at gawin lamang ito tuwing madaling araw o sa hapon. I-defrost sa chiller ang mga gagamiting karne at iba pang frozen food para hindi na kailangan gumamit ng tubig. Gamitin ang full load ng washing machine tuwing maglalaba at maglagay lamang ng tamang dami ng sabon o detergent. Iksian ang shower time o pagligo. Kung maaari, gumamit na lamang ng timba at tabo. Gamitin ang pinagbanlawang tubig sa paglalaba, sa pag-flush ng toilet bowl. Malaking tulong din ang tamang paggamit ng dual flush para makatipid ng tubig. Sa mga opisina, maiging i-switch off ang main valve ng tubig kapag wala ng tao. At para malaman kung may tagas ang linya ng tubig na nagdudulot ng malaking aksaya, i-check ang metro sa hating gabi o sa madaling araw kapag wala nang gumagamit. Maging bahagi ng solusyon at sama-sama tayong umaksyon. Dapat laging listo.
bringing you the latest, thrilling, and action-packed updates in the world of sports. With our teammates. PTV Sports. Roadwatch, mga dapat tandaan tungkol sa No Contact Apprehension Policy ng MMDA. Para maayos ang daloy ng trapiko at bawasan ang kontak sa pagitan ng mga motorista at enforcer, muling ipinatutupad ang NCAP o No Contact Apprehension Policy sa mga pangunahing kalsada sa Metro Manila. Ang NCAP ay isang programa ng MMDA kung saan hinuhuli ang mga lumalabag sa batas trapiko gamit ang mga high-definition CCTV camera, digital camera, at iba pang gadget tulad ng speed gun at handheld video camera. Kapag may na-record na violation, ito ay i-review at i-validate at i-verify ang vehicle record sa LTO Information Query Facility. Ipapasok ang vehicle record sa NCAP system at mag-i-issue ng Notice of Violation. Ang Notice of Violation ay ipadadala sa rehistradong tirahan ng motorista sa pamamagitan ng postal mail. Ang multa ay maaaring bayaran online sa Land Bank Link Biz Portal o magsadya sa head office ng MMDA. Maaari ring iprotesta ang Notice of Violation sa online filing platform ng MMDA Traffic Adjudication Division gamit ang QR code o link. Kapag gustong i-check kung may violation ka, bisitahin lamang ang mayhulika.mmda.gov.ph. Roadwatch, hatid ng inyong PTV.
Parents and volunteers join efforts in cleaning and repainting classrooms at Leon A. Garcia Senior Elementary School as part of the ongoing Brigada Escuela 2026. A parent participant said she has been regularly joining the program to help teachers ensure that the school is clean and ready for students every opening of classes. Teachers from Leon Garcia Senior National High School also prepared classrooms by organizing learning materials, decorating rooms, and thanking the community for support and donations. The school also repaired hanging cabinets and replaced old chairs to protect learning materials, especially due to flood risks, and confirmed readiness for the June 8, 2026 opening with over 800 expected enrollees. Over 1,400 farmers, fishers, MSMEs, and University of Southern Mindanao graduates joined the rollout of the Land Bank of the Philippines Agrisenso Plus lending program in Cabacan, Cotabato. The program aims to boost economic opportunities in Mindanao's key food-producing provinces by providing accessible financing for agriculture and agri-related businesses. Qualified borrowers may avail up to 90% of production costs with a 3% fixed annual interest rate, plus free life and credit life insurance. Local officials and beneficiaries welcome the initiative, saying it will help ease financial burdens and support livelihood growth in the province. The National Bureau of Investigation Cordillera Administrative Region has broken ground on its new 8-story regional office in Baguio City. NBI CAR Regional Director Attorney Janet Francisco said the 350 million peso facility will enhance the agency's capacity to provide faster and more efficient services. The building will feature a cybercrime center, forensic laboratory, upgraded clearance processing offices, and expanded facilities for the NBI Academy. Local officials, including Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong, welcomed the project, citing its benefits for both employees and the public. In partnership with the Department of Social Welfare and Development Region 11, an NGO recently conducted temperament testing on 13 dogs in Davao City to identify candidates for the Dr. Dogs program. A therapy dog initiative is helping promote mental and emotional well-being through animal-assisted therapy programs. 10 dogs passed the assessment and will undergo training to provide support to children, senior citizens, patients, and individuals with mental health concerns. Officials say the program aims to strengthen rehabilitation, social interaction, and overall well-being through positive human-animal connections. And we'll now give you the latest buzz here at Pop Culture Corner. First up, South Korean girl group Mamamoo has made its comeback with the release of its new single album, Forward, on Thursday. The album features 5 tracks, including the lead single, 4 Flowers. This marks the group's first release in more than 3 years since Mic On in 2022. Mamamoo is also set to begin a world tour later this month with a scheduled stop in Manila on August 8th. American singer and songwriter Olivia Rodrigo has expressed pride in her Filipino heritage and appreciation for her fans in the Philippines. In a recent interview, she described Filipinos as welcoming and talented singers, recalling her first visit to the country during her Guts World Tour. Rodrigo said performing in the Philippines was a special experience, with the fans singing along so loudly that they nearly drowned out her voice. The singer is also preparing for the release of her third album, You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love, on June 12. Chinese actress Zhang Yingfei, known for her role as Linda Walker in the hit microdrama The Heiress Who Won with Brains, is set to visit the Philippines on June 10th. She will appear at the Annex Atrium of SM North EDSA at 3 p.m. for a free public event. Organized in partnership with the Federation of Filipino Chinese Members or Chambers of Commerce and Industry, the event aims to promote education and academic excellence. Zhang's visit supports the advocacy of education for a better future and is expected to draw fans of the viral series. Filipino tennis Alex Ayala pulled off a blazing second-set comeback to defeat Russia's Alina Shareva 6-2, 7-5, securing her spot in the quarterfinals of the Birmingham Open. The 21-year-old Filipino standout came out firing, delivering a commanding opening set to seize control against the Russian netter. However, in the next stretch of the match, Alina Shareva fought back with a string of break points, building a 3-game advantage. 5-2. Ayala then relied on her solid baseline play and defense to gradually work her way back into the contest. Alex eventually completed her comeback bid after breaking her Russian foe twice, closing out the set 7-5. With the victory, the Filipino tennis phenom advances to the quarterfinals, where she is set to face the tennis player Mananseva Shawang-geo, who is ranked number 173 in the WTA. The Gilas Pilipinas Under-18 girls team remains undefeated in the ongoing FIBA Under-18 SIBA qualifiers after cruising to a lopsided 86-48 victory over Thailand on Thursday in Bacolod. After a slow start against Singapore on Wednesday, the Gilas girls came out firing in their match against Thailand, racing to a dominant 26 lead at the end of the opening frame. They followed it up with another impressive display on both ends of the hard court, maintaining control and extending their advantage to 42-24 by halftime. The national Under-18 squad put the game out of reach after unleashing a 25-9 run in the third period to seal the win. Leia Pinuela led the way for Gilas with a team-high 16 points, while Luisa Jane almost added 11 markers for the national team. With the victory, the Gilas girls extended their unbeaten run in Bacolod and held firm at the top of the SIBA Asian qualifiers standings with a 3-0 record. The Philippines will look to complete an elimination round sweep when they face Indonesia in their final group stage match on Saturday. In other news, the media industry mourns the passing of veteran journalist and columnist attorney Emil Jurado, who died earlier today at the age of 98. Jurado is recognized as one of the pillars of Philippine media. It was the first president of the Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas or KBP in 1973 and served as chairman emeritus of the Manila Overseas Press Club. He was also among the founders of the Broadsheet Manila Standard in 1987, where he continued to write his column until his passing. Throughout his long career, Jurado covered 13 presidents, from Manuel Rojas to Ferdinand Marcos Jr., and he also taught law at Ateneo de Manila and the Philippine Law School, his alma mater. In 2020, he released his memoirs, The Road Never Ends, detailing his life from his childhood in Abra to his service in media and academia. Jurado stood as a pillar of journalism, a defender of press freedom, and an educator who devoted more than 7 decades of service to the nation. His wake is at the Heritage Memorial Park in Taguig City, and a funeral mass is scheduled on June 9 to be followed by cremation and interment. And into weather news, as of 5 p.m. today, the center of Tropical Depression Esther was estimated based on all available data at 255 kilometers northeast of Itbayat, Batanes, with maximum sustained winds of 45 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 55 kilometers per hour. It is moving east-northeastward at 15 kilometers per hour, with the southwest monsoon affecting northern and central Luzon. Batanes may be affected by rains with gusty winds. Ilocos Region, Abra, Benguet, Zambales, and Bataan may expect occasional rains. In Metro Manila, the rest of Cagayan Valley, the rest of Cordillera Administrative Region, the rest of Central Luzon, Rizal, Cavite, Batangas, and Occidental Mindoro may encounter cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms, while the rest of the country may experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms. And our food for thought tonight comes from Immanuel Kant, a German philosopher and one of the most influential thinkers of the Enlightenment, known for his writings on ethics, reason, and moral duty. And he once said, "Ingratitude is the essence of vileness." And so goes PTV News Tonight's roundup of tomorrow's headline stories. I'm Jay Esteban. Join us again next week on PTV News Tonight.